Humanity, with its unceasing curiosity about the universe, began its journey long ago. The first steps taken beyond the planet opened the door to endless exploration, but soon after, one question began to haunt: why did extraterrestrial beings refuse every invitation to board human ships? There had been 123 attempts to bring other life forms aboard human spacecraft, but each time, there was no clear explanation for the failure. Humanity's journey began with the boldest of efforts. The first spacecraft, though far from perfect, carried with them grand dreams and aspirations. Scientists, engineers, and astronauts poured their hearts into sending humans into space. They hoped that exploring the universe would provide answers to the age-old questions about the origins of humanity and the cosmos. However, each time they attempted to make contact with extraterrestrial beings, the responses were bewildering and impossible to understand. The first contact was with a species of superior intelligence living on a distant planet in the Tundes star system. This species, called Zalaran, seemed very cooperative during the early scientific exchanges. After several cycles, they agreed to join a mission to board a human spacecraft, hoping that this would foster understanding and cooperation between civilizations. However, as soon as the human ship approached, something strange occurred. The communication signals from the Zalaran became erratic and indecipherable. Eventually, they decided to return to their planet without offering any explanation. The next encounter was with the Wyker, a species capable of communicating through brain waves and capable of sensing and understanding all emotions. The human researchers were amazed when they first witnessed the Wyker's incredible communication abilities. Although communication was easy and promising, when the Wyker were invited to join a spacecraft tour, they firmly refused. A research team traveled to the Wyker home planet to ask why they had declined. What they received were vague answers, as if the Wyker didn't want to disclose the real reason, but one thing was clear: they never wanted to come close to human ships. Although these failures failed to provide a clear explanation for the extraterrestrial rejection, one thing became obvious: something beyond human understanding lurked behind each failed attempt. The crews who had participated in these encounters all left with an indescribable feeling, as if they had witnessed something beyond their comprehension. Scientists tried to explain the phenomenon through scientific theories, but no theory could offer a convincing answer. Human technology was not the determining factor. Despite not being the most advanced vehicles, human ships had proven capable of facing the challenges of deep space without breaking down or experiencing serious malfunctions. So, what was it that made extraterrestrial beings avoid human spacecraft? One hypothesis suggested that the extraterrestrials could sense something from humans: an energy, an invisible scent that only they could detect. This was related to a profound difference in the existential nature between humans and alien species. Despite their potential for evolution and creativity, humans lacked the psychological stability that other life forms possessed. Encounters with the Zalaran and Wyker revealed an important truth: humanity carried within them an emotional and mental chaos that other extraterrestrials could not endure. Perhaps this instability was the reason why alien species wanted nothing to do with humans. Other theories delved into the spiritual realm. The extraterrestrials might have been able to perceive something in humans that scientists could not measure: a connection to the deep pain, loss, and isolation that humans carried with them. Throughout their development, humans had faced both mental and physical trials, and these memories had embedded themselves in their essence. Perhaps, despite their superior technology, extraterrestrial species could not cope with the complexity of human emotions. Another theory proposed that extraterrestrials may have previously encountered hostile civilizations and became aware that, despite humanity's vast potential, humans still lacked control over their emotions and desires. Humanity's unchecked ambition might be one factor that made alien species feel uneasy. Although these theories about the reasons for the rejection still lingered, the fact remained that, to this day, no one had provided a convincing answer. Subsequent human expeditions, while not encountering obvious obstacles, seemed to run into a psychological void that alien species appeared unwilling to cross. Each failure only made humanity more determined. They kept experimenting, they kept reaching out into the cosmos, hoping that one day they would discover the real reason behind the rejection. But perhaps, what humans did not realize was that, in this journey, they were not only exploring space, but also discovering themselves, those weaknesses, those vulnerabilities they had never truly confronted. The Keltar, renowned for their superior intellect and rational thinking, had long been intrigued by humanity's ambition to conquer space. Their society was built on the foundation of seeking knowledge, continuously pursuing scientific discoveries. In their eyes, humanity's venture into space was a mixture of courage and madness, a bold effort to understand the vast, unexplored universe. They had been observing humanity's space missions from afar, captivated by the perseverance and intelligence humans exhibited as they ventured beyond their planet's atmosphere. The Keltar decided to approach humanity, but they did so cautiously and deliberately. They wanted to understand, not to guide or control. 18 cycles ago, the decision was made to establish communication with one of humanity's earliest exploration spacecraft, a vessel designed to travel to the far reaches of the solar system. This was humanity's boldest step, a sign of their courageous spirit and desire to reach beyond their planet's limits. With their advanced technology, the Keltar were able to intercept and communicate with this ship, sending a series of simple scientific messages. At first, the exchanges were cold and formal, as expected between two species from completely different worlds. The Keltar's messages were short, containing data about star systems they had studied, their discoveries about cosmic radiation, and observations of distant planets. Eager to make a connection, humanity responded enthusiastically, sharing their achievements in space exploration, their hopes for the future, and the discoveries they hoped to make. The dialogue remained polite but full of information. Humans shared their technologies, their dreams of exploring the stars, and the discoveries they longed to achieve. The Keltar listened, their curiosity piqued, but they were still not fully captivated. But after a few days, something strange began to happen. The messages from the Keltar, which had always been precise and orderly, started to become unstable. The initial data lines, which had been clear, were now altered, no longer coherent. They became disjointed, no longer following any logical pattern. The Keltar's signals began to disintegrate, difficult to understand, as if there had been some kind of intrusion in the flow of information. The Keltar, known for their ability to maintain rationality and control their thoughts, now began to sense something very odd. A feeling of unease, a discomfort, lingered in the communication space between them and the human ship. Initially faint, it grew into a strange, powerful energy that seeped into their minds. The emotions and desires of humanity, something the Keltar could not understand, began to infiltrate their thoughts, invading every neural pathway. For beings like the Keltar, who had always adhered to logic and emotional restraint, this was unbearable. They could not comprehend the strength of human emotions, the cravings, the fears, the grief, and the unrealized hopes. The emotions of humanity, although unintentionally invasive, became a force the Keltar could not resist. It was like a massive wave pushing them into a state of panic, causing their thoughts and reasoning to become blurred. The peak of the chaos came when a member of the Keltar crew, an officer with exceptional mental control, was overwhelmed by this emotional whirlwind. His mind shattered, unable to distinguish his own feelings from those of the humans. This was the first time in Keltar history that they had felt helpless before something they could not explain, human emotion. The mental breakdown grew worse, and unable to contain it, the officer was forced to cease contact. He could no longer continue the mission. In a state of panic, the Keltar sent one final message to the human ship. The tone of this message was completely different from anything they had sent before. It was filled with panic and despair. "We cannot continue, please retreat." This was not a request or a command as before. It was a plea for help, a call to retreat from an interaction they could no longer control. After this message, the Keltar ship immediately severed communication and sped back to their planet at a pace beyond anything humanity could imagine. They offered no further explanations, no more questions about the event. Upon returning to their planet, the Keltar never mentioned the incident again. It became a bad memory, a failure they didn't want to confront. The members of the crew hid every memory of the event, treating it as an unexplained failure. They returned to their work, continuing their lives in the pursuit of knowledge, but the memory of their interaction with humanity remained a mystery that could never be solved. As for humanity, the Keltar's retreat was just another failure in their quest to conquer space. They never understood why the Keltar withdrew so suddenly. They didn't know that it was precisely the emotions, the so-called humanity of each crew member aboard the ship, that caused the Keltar to leave. They could not imagine that the unspoken desires and feelings had made the Keltar falter. In the years that followed, the Keltar continued to monitor humanity from afar, but they never made direct contact again. Humanity continued to push forward with their space missions, unaware that a deeper reason lay behind the Keltar's withdrawal. And the memory of the first failed expedition remained in the minds of the Keltar, a reminder that in this vast universe, there are things that intellect, no matter how superior, cannot understand. The Sin Mak, a species of beings with powerful mind control abilities, were exceptional entities in the universe. They possessed not only superior intelligence but also the unique ability to control all external influences on their minds and spirits. The Sin Mak believed that their spiritual power could protect them from any outside influence. They saw themselves as guardians of the mind, able to maintain calm and control in any circumstance. To them, this power was not just a tool but a core part of their survival nature. The use of spiritual power had been passed down through thousands of generations, and they took pride in their ability to keep their minds intact in the face of any challenge the universe might present. With their pride and absolute confidence in their abilities, the Sin Mak decided to test the human ship. To them, this was not a technological challenge, but a psychological one. They believed that with discipline and spiritual strength, they could withstand any external influence without their inner world being penetrated. Although they had heard stories of other species' failed missions, they still held firm in their belief that nothing could shake their mental fortitude. The decision was set in motion when they discovered that the human ship was on its way to an unexplored region of the universe, a mysterious space where no one had ventured before. The rumors surrounding these missions, particularly the survival of the crews, piqued the Sin Mak's curiosity, and they wanted to understand more. They decided to approach the human ship and conduct an examination of their ability to protect their minds and their mental capacities when faced with uncontrollable forces. The journey began in silence, with an elite team of Sin Mak, including outstanding psychologists and leaders with superior mental control abilities. They approached the ship with confidence, unaware that this would change everything. Initially, everything proceeded in a state of safety, and they made their approach slowly, with no signs of intrusion or danger. The human crew, unaware of the psychological challenge approaching, received communication signals and acted as usual. But just minutes later, strange things began to happen. The signals that the Sin Mak psychologists detected were unlike anything they had encountered before. This was not a direct external intervention, but a strange intrusion deep within their minds. Memories, emotions, and sensations they had never felt before, as if they came from the ship and its human crew, began to invade their minds. At first, there were only small fragments of memories, but gradually, they grew stronger and clearer. The emotions of the humans, the relationships between them, and even the deep fears they tried to conceal began to infiltrate the Sin Mak's consciousness. This was something the Sin Mak could never have imagined. They were strong in maintaining mental tranquility, but this time, the emergence of powerful and uncontrollable emotions from the human ship left them helpless. These emotions were not something they could simply cleanse with their spiritual strength. Every memory they encountered became more intense, as if it lived within them. The sadness, the unfulfilled hopes, and even the deep disappointments of humans began to flood their minds, making it impossible to maintain the balance they had once known. One of the Sin Mak leaders, once considered one of the strongest in mind control, could not withstand it. The emotions of humanity's sincere feelings, hopes, and inexplicable fears shattered his mind. These emotions were like a crashing wave, forcing him to face the darker parts of himself, things he had never confronted. He could no longer continue the mission, unable to maintain control. When this realization set in, the members of the Sin Mak team began to feel the invasion of human emotions as an assault on their very being. The mental students, trained to control and expel all foreign influences, began to feel helpless. Gradually, they lost control, as if they themselves were caught in a vortex they could not escape. At this point, a message from the Sin Mak mission leader was sent out, filled with confusion and desperation: "We cannot continue. Please retreat." It was a cry for help from powerful beings, but this time, they could not save themselves from the inexplicable invasion of human emotions. Their team no longer had the strength to maintain calm and control. They quickly retreated, leaving the human ship behind and returning to their planet, never to speak of the event again. This psychological experiment left a deep wound in the Sin Mak's souls. They realized that, despite their powerful mind control abilities, there were elements in the universe they could not explain or control. The emotions, relationships, and desires of humans forced them to face something they had never anticipated: helplessness. No amount of psychological strength could protect them from an attack coming from a place they could not understand. That was the essence of humanity. They retreated in silence, never wanting to confront this encounter again. But with each passing day, they realized there was something in humanity they could not comprehend, something beyond their control, and that was what terrified them the most. The Shang'A A, a symbol of human technological advancement, was born from humanity's relentless ambition to explore the vast expanse of the universe. This ship, equipped with the most advanced technology of its time, was built to venture into uncharted regions, carrying with it the hope of unlocking new discoveries about the cosmos. It bore a great mission, with astronauts who were among the finest individuals in the fields of space research and exploration. But the journey of Shang'A A never ended as expected. After the ship was launched into space and lost communication for an extended period, it drew the attention of cosmic beings across the planets. This ship was not just a research vessel, it was a mystery that no one could explain. Over the years, the ship silently drifted past planets, through barren regions of space, leaving no trace. There were no radio signals, no data systems transmitting back, no signs of survival. Every attempt to approach the ship for study, even efforts to communicate, failed. The cosmic beings, highly skilled in exploring and interacting with extraterrestrial objects, could not find any reasonable explanation for this mystery. They could not decipher why the Shang'A A moved quietly through space without sending any signals. Everything surrounding the ship appeared normal, no signs of damage or orbital disturbance, no technical anomalies, yet the ship remained in absolute silence. One of the most intellectually renowned cosmic species, the Dravak, decided to approach the Shang'A A in hopes of finding an answer to this puzzle. The Dravak were not only experts in studying technology but also had the ability to analyze objects and signals quickly. However, as they neared the ship, they encountered a strange phenomenon that they had never experienced before. Their space scanning devices could not detect any energy sources, and the physical signals around the ship could not be explained, preventing them from continuing their investigation. Although the Dravak's efforts yielded no results, they did not give up. In the following days, they attempted direct communication methods, hoping to receive a signal from within the ship. A team of Dravak researchers decided to send a crew aboard the ship, a bold mission with no way of knowing what they would face. These individuals were chosen for their special skills, capable of handling unexpected situations and enduring harsh environments. As the Dravak team approached the Shang'A A, they discovered that all the ship's doors were tightly locked, as though some force was preventing them from entering. There were no signs of anyone aboard, but an unsettling tension filled the space around them. Every movement felt heavier, as if an invisible power was slowing them down. Despite repeated attempts to unlock the doors, all efforts were in vain. An eerie silence enveloped the ship. During their approach, the cosmic beings began to sense a strange presence, not that of the human astronauts, but something else, something that no one could explain. One of the Dravak researchers described the sensation as if an invisible force was watching them from all directions, as though the ship itself was not just a vessel but a living entity, a conscious being. Despite their efforts to approach, the Shang'A A remained silent. There were no signals from its control systems, no signs of life within the ship. However, a curious detail emerged when the cosmic beings began to examine the ship's interior through their scanning devices. Faint images appeared on their screens, but they were not images of humans. Instead, they were bizarre, disordered memories, as if these memories had been recorded by the ship itself. Images of humans, tears, farewells, pain, and sacrifice. All these complex emotions were captured in an eerily haunting way. These images sent chills down the Dravak researchers' spines. They realized that the Shang'A A was not just an ordinary exploration vessel, but a tomb containing all the unresolved memories and emotions of humanity. This was not merely an inanimate object, but a ship that held the souls of the astronauts who had passed through it, a piece of humanity's soul that had been carried off into space. That feeling, an unexplainable presence, was like a wandering spirit among the stars, creating an invisible power that made all who approached the ship sense an unease and an indescribable fear. The Shang'A A, with all its mystery, was not just a discovery of technology or space exploration. It was an exploration of death, sacrifice, and the emotions humans carried with them on every journey. For the cosmic beings, this silence was a clear sign that something could not be explained, a part of humanity that they could not understand. These emotions, these memories, changed the way they viewed humanity. In the vastness of space, where cosmic beings could move freely and rationally, humans carried something that they could not confront, that was the contradictory and uncontrollable nature of their emotions. Despite the cosmic beings' attempts to explore, study, and seek answers to the mystery of Shang'A A, they could find no answers. This ship was not just an exploration vehicle, it was a symbol of humanity's existence in the universe, a mysterious presence that no one could touch. The Shang'A A drifted through space, carrying with it unanswered questions, while the cosmic beings remained forever immersed in curiosity and unease about what this ship truly contained. The Shang'A A, seemingly an empty physical vessel to the cosmic beings, just a transport with no distinguishing features, merely metal and the advanced technologies of humankind. But in reality, what this ship held was not the secrets of technology, but memories, the souls imprinted within the cold walls of the ship. These were things the cosmic beings had never understood, and could never understand, the stories hidden deep inside the ship. When the Dravok research team decided to open the ship's door, they had no idea that what they would face would not just be machinery or advanced research tools, but a journey that would transcend the limits of technology and reason. The door of the ship swung open, but nothing was as they expected. There was no dazzling light or futuristic, eye-catching devices. Instead, it was a dark, cold space, where the air felt so heavy that every step echoed like the footsteps of lifeless corpses. The cosmic beings, with their superior intellect, began to scan the surrounding environment with their analytical devices. The screens displayed readings of the ship's interior: no temperature changes, no unusual energy signals, no signs of living beings. But when the scanning devices reached the compartment where the astronauts had lived and worked, something strange occurred. Flickering signals began to appear on the screens, like small waves in the ocean. Faint images of human faces, smiles, embraces, scenes of joy and sorrow began to emerge. These were not lifeless photographs, they were memories, moments so real that they seemed to be etched into the cold walls of the ship. The cosmic beings felt bewildered and unable to explain this phenomenon. They sensed that these images were not just data records, but something more vivid, something that could not be erased by time or space. Each image was like a story, a painful memory, a moment full of emotion. These were reunions, farewells, vows made in the final moments of human lives. The ship was not merely a vessel for travel, but a witness to all the emotions humans had experienced throughout their long journeys, a living tomb, holding memories that would never fade. As the Dravok team entered the astronauts' quarters, they no longer felt as if they were researching a spacecraft. Every step they took seemed to make the space more cramped, as if invisible memories were flooding the area. These beings began to realize that everything around them bore a psychological layer, a layer they could not penetrate. It felt like an illusion. Every object in the ship seemed to hold emotional connections, deep feelings from humans they had never met. One of the compartments, which was supposed to be where the astronauts rested, was not the cold space they had imagined. Each bed, each painting, each personal item carried a strange warmth, as if the people who had lived here were still present, if only in memory. In particular, there was an electronic board on the wall, where the astronauts had left messages before they departed. These messages were not technical instructions or work reports, but personal notes, promises to families, unspoken goodbyes. One of the Dravok beings, named Talar, when approaching the electronic board, felt an overwhelming wave of emotion wash over him. The words "see you again someday," among the stars, seemed to echo in his mind, as if those words were not just from one human, but from all those who had lived on the ship. Talar sensed something invisible, a strange connection, as if the ship was not just a space object but a part of humanity. He began to understand that what the Shang'A A carried was not cold data, but vivid memories, untold stories of humankind. One thing the cosmic beings could not understand was the resilience, the persistence of humans on their journey. While cosmic beings had learned to overcome fear, pain, and loss through reason and discipline, humans faced these challenges with emotion, love, and hope. This made humans stronger in the harshest conditions, but also made them more vulnerable. The memories left behind on the Shang'A A were not just victories or discoveries, but failures, sacrifices, and the deepest emotions of humans confronting death, separation, and the immense loneliness in the endless void of space. The cosmic beings, although they had come to understand more about human technology and intellect, could not feel the most subtle aspects of human nature. The memories they uncovered on the Shang'A A could not be explained by theory or science. These were moments that could not be measured, emotions that could not be analyzed, and connections that could not be severed. Each ship was not just a means of transportation, but a part of the human journey, a story full of emotions and desires, an inseparable part of humanity's soul. When the cosmic beings first encountered humanity, they were drawn to the scientific and technological achievements humans had made. Spacecraft, space exploration, and discoveries about the vast universe all served as evidence of humankind's remarkable progress. But the deeper they studied, the more they realized that what truly made humans different was not their technology or intellect, but their ability to face immense pain, loss, and suffering. This was a mystery the cosmic beings could not comprehend. On their space journeys, humans not only explored space but also explored themselves. When astronauts left Earth, they were not just leaving behind a planet they called home, they also faced overwhelming loneliness, fear with no one to share it with, and separation from their loved ones. The ships were not merely modes of transportation, they were spaces filled with memories, emotions, and life things the cosmic beings could never fully understand. One of the most bizarre things the cosmic beings discovered was how humans could maintain mental strength through extreme challenges. When an astronaut was injured on an exploration, physical pain was not the only thing they faced. The mental anguish, helplessness, isolation, and loneliness could sometimes be far greater. They did not only face their own impending death but also the permanent separation from those they loved. An astronaut felt not only the threat from the endless space outside but also the emptiness within their own soul. Even if they could conquer physical pain, how could they face being forever cut off from everything they had known and loved? The cosmic beings felt a strange fear when confronted with this mystery. Unlike them beings capable of controlling their minds, the mental strength of humans came from intense emotions, desires, love, and sacrifice. This was something the cosmic beings could neither understand nor replicate. One of the beings involved in the research, Xanthar, was deeply shaken when he came across data about an astronaut named Marcus. On a distant journey, Marcus had been severely injured, and his injuries were almost beyond repair. But what was strange was not his resilience in enduring physical pain, but how he faced loneliness. With no one around him, no signal from Earth, he not only fell into despair but also found a strange form of liberation in that loneliness. Marcus no longer cared whether he would survive. The memories of family, friends, and loved ones had become faint images in his mind. But what haunted Xanthar was Marcus's final moment, when he recorded a last video message to send back to Earth, not to ask for help, but to say goodbye. Marcus was not only confronting death but also the ultimate loneliness, something no cosmic being could ever truly experience. His sacrifice was not only a sign of his resilience but also a testament to the strength of human courage, the ability to continue living and hoping, even when everything was lost. The records of Marcus's journey made the cosmic beings reflect on the nature of humanity. While they could easily control their minds, avoid negative emotions and pain, humans could accept suffering and loss without breaking. They faced not only external dangers but also constant internal struggles. Every time humans faced separation and death, they discovered new limits within themselves, and sometimes, they didn't even realize they had surpassed those limits. This left the cosmic beings puzzled and anxious. They could not understand why humans could endure things they could not even imagine. The cosmic beings, with all their intellect and mental power, could control everything around them, but they could not control the emotions and pain within their own hearts. Humans could survive in despair, endure situations that seemed insurmountable, but this strength came from an invisible force that no one could measure. The mystery of humanity, in the eyes of the cosmic beings, lay in the ability to face suffering and loss without losing their humanity. Humans did not just fight against death or the challenges of space, they fought against themselves, against deep-seated fears, unfulfilled desires, and regrets. Humans not only explored the vast universe, but they also explored the immeasurable limits of their own soul and spirit with each journey, each great adventure. And it was these very things that made the cosmic beings re-evaluate the nature of themselves and ask the question, could they endure the pain and loss that humanity had gone through, and if not, could they truly understand humans? The encounter between the cosmic beings and humanity lasted for centuries, but only in the final moment did something that the alien beings had never understood begin to become clear. The Shang'A A, one of humanity's first spacecraft, defied all attempts by the cosmic beings to explain why humans persisted in their space journeys despite the loneliness, pain, and even death. They could not comprehend the mental strength humanity possessed. This persistence did not stem from intellect or superior technology but from something intangible, personal relationships. These cosmic beings, despite their advanced intellect, could never truly grasp what lay within the human soul. To them, everything could be explained through theories, formulas, and data. They could control everything around them, manipulate energy, and decode the mysteries of the universe. However, when it came to humans, they could not explain the power humans gain through emotional connections through love, friendship, or unconditional sacrifice. These became the force behind every adventure, every endless journey. The cosmic beings were always fascinated by humanity's spacecraft, but they could never understand why, even when abandoned, these ships remained full of life. A space journey was not simply an exploration of space, it was an ongoing battle between life and death, between hope and despair. And what set humanity apart was their ability to forge strong connections with each other in the harshest of times. One story the cosmic beings could never forget was that of the Ark 7 spacecraft. This ship left Earth on an exploration mission to find a habitable planet beyond the solar system. During the journey, the ship suffered severe damage and lost communication. The astronauts aboard were left with one choice: continue the mission or return. They chose to continue not because of a thirst for discovery, but because of something deeper. They could not abandon one another. On that ship, the love between the astronauts was not simply a bond between two people but a strong relationship built through shared moments, long nights filled with nothing but the silence of space, and life or death decisions. One astronaut, Amelia, once said, "We're not just fighting for survival, we're fighting for each other." This made the cosmic beings rethink everything. They couldn't understand why humans would sacrifice for others without a logical or practical reason. They wondered if they could do the same, given that they could control everything around them and foresee every outcome. Love, sacrifice, and personal relationships were things the cosmic beings could not measure with their technology or intellect. These values couldn't be simulated in formulas or theories. And it was this lack of understanding that led them to misjudge humanity for a long time. They didn't realize that it was these very relationships that provided the invisible yet powerful strength to help humans survive the harsh challenges of space. In truth, what humanity experienced on every space journey was not just the exploration of space, but also the exploration of themselves. The astronauts were not merely searching for new planets, they were also confronting pain, loneliness, and irreplaceable loss. Each journey was not just a long trek into space, but a profound search within the human soul. It was through their emotions, sacrifice, and love that they overcame the fear of death and separation. Eventually, the cosmic beings realized that they had been wrong in failing to understand the importance of personal relationships in humanity. The connection between humans was something that could not be measured, analyzed, or understood by any scientific tool they possessed. It was these very things that gave humanity its unparalleled strength in space adventures, enabling them to find ways to overcome difficulties even in the worst circumstances. And what confused the cosmic beings was that this ability could not be recreated or simulated by any being, because it came from the heart and soul of humanity. No matter the journey, no matter how vast the universe, humanity's ships carried a part of the human soul. Each ship not only contained technology, inventions, or data collected, but also held memories, vows, tears, and moments of love and sacrifice. It was in these moments that humanity displayed its true strength, a strength no one could understand until they faced it themselves. And this was the final truth the cosmic beings had to admit. Humans were not just a species fighting for survival, but a species capable of love, sacrifice, and connection no matter the challenges and trials in the vast universe.